Yes, we have never seen a market like this. This is worse than 08, 09. And I think many technicians basically took a chart of the tech and telecom bubble and the bust, and they said, okay, that's what's going to happen. That has happened to us and more. This is worse than the tech and telecom bust.
Cathie Wood, the CEO of Ark Invest, has explained that we have never seen such situations earlier in any market. That is why we had issues, but now everything is under control and the worst is now the past. She has now come up again with 2 new crypto strategies after analyzing how FTX and SEC rugged the market and how Defi and Bitcoin are still the future, which is even more needed even now. She has also explained about stock market and FED rates, that everything has started to normalize and all markets will recover in 2023. So if you want to listen to her, then do watch the video until the end.
Well, we do have 2 new crypto strategies, and yes, we're very excited about helping to democratize the venture space. $500 minimum requirement on the Titan app, so social distribution added to our social media and social marketing strategy. So very excited about that. And then 2 new crypto strategies. I believe the best time to launch new products is when times are tough and they're out of favor, because that gives the end investor an opportunity to ride the next wave. And, I really believe, if I can just back up and give you a sense, during COVID, as we learned the disaster that COVID would be, the market dropped in 1 month, roughly 30%, depending on the measure. We were down 46%. Our mantra back then was innovation solves problems. COVID's a terrible problem. And then, of course, our genomic revolution was our best performing fund, up 180% in 2020. But our flagship, from the low in April of 2020 to the peak in February of 21, went up 360%. And so this idea of innovation solves problems. We have more problems now. We have all the supply chain problems that innovation has helped work out. We have food and energy prices having increased as dramatically as they did. Electric vehicles, genetic engineering, CRISPR gene editing to allow crops to grow in less fertile areas than Ukraine. So innovation solves problems. And I believe what happened during COVID and after, as investors woke up to the idea that, wait a minute, innovation does solve problems. I believe that was a dry run for what we are going to experience during the next 5 to 10 years as these 5 innovation platforms around which we have centered our research take off. They are ready for prime time. I think what we're learning because of FTX is how much more important fully transparent, decentralized networks will be to financial services going forward. FTX, Celsius, 3AC were all closed networks, opaque systems. You couldn't see what was going on. And what happened as they were going down, the people who were on the fully transparent distributed networks were able to get out scot-free. They saw what was going on. There were margin calls for those who were over-leveraged, but the system worked. It didn't skip a beat. Those other companies went out of business. It's a little bit like 0809. The old financial world is very opaque, not transparent. The new world that we're entering, and we do believe DeFi will actually get a boost coming out of this because it's so obvious now. Decentralized and transparent is the way to go. Those networks didn't skip a beat. All of the transactions were completed. And there are all kinds of metrics saying they're getting stronger now. It's very interesting to note that Sam Bankman-Fried, who has either committed gross negligence or outright fraud, he didn't like Bitcoin. He didn't like it. And why didn't he like it? It's decentralized, it's fully transparent, and he couldn't control it. He was trying to control the crypto world, master of the universe. And that was a recipe for failure. It's been most unfortunate because so many people have been hurt because of it. But I do think the big lesson, and even the newest SEC commissioner is saying, you know what, we really have to double down on this idea of decentralization and transparency and help to propagate this new world with the right kind of regulation. And it's not like they have to change regulations. As Brian Armstrong says at Coinbase, we don't need new regulations. We need clear regulations. And we certainly need more clarity from Gary Gensler at the SEC. And the other thing we need, I would submit, is we would have saved a lot of people from some of the catastrophe that FTX has presented them with something like a Bitcoin ETF, a regulated. Instead, a lot of people went offshore and then got carried away with it. So I think the SEC deserves some blame for what has gone on as well. Well, I do believe that the stock market has been discounting this for a good part of this year. The market is in a bear market. So the equity market's not going to be surprised, and even the fixed income market's not going to be surprised. The yield curve, so the difference between the 2-year and the 10-year Treasury yield, is over 80 basis points, 0.8%. This has not happened since the 80s, the early 80s, when Chairman Volcker, was taking a sledgehammer to inflation, an inflation problem that had built up over 15 years. This inflation problem built up over 15 months. And instead of increasing interest rates twofold, 10 to 20%, which is what Volcker did, Chairman Powell has taken interest rates up 16-fold. Never seen that before. And I do believe that the surprises now are going to be on the low side of inflation expectations, dramatically so. We believe that inflation will drop below the Fed's 2% inflation rate sometime next year. And the pipeline is telling us that. Commodity prices, inventories, which are overwhelming and causing all kinds of discounts. And the bond market itself, whenever there's a yield curve inverted, it is saying, okay, growth is going to disappoint, or inflation is going to be lower than expected, or both.
So that's pretty impressive again that Cathie Wood is predicting the next bull run in 2023. So what do you guys think of this? Let us know in the comment box below. Now, if you found the content helpful, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.